Alright, so last round we tore the top end of this engine apart, took this head off to fix the cross-threaded spark plug holes in this head. And now it's all back together, minus, well, the rest of it. We still gotta put spark plugs in this side, we gotta change the spark plugs on that side, tighten this header back up, accessories, carburetor, all that stuff, distributor. Probably gonna start with the carburetor first because honestly, it's been smelling worse and worse like gas in my garage the last few days, and I think I've been cranking this engine over. It's got a mechanical fuel pump. I think it's just been pumping gas out, and so I'm gonna go ahead and hook the carburetor up so that when I continue to bump the engine over for doing stuff like when I put my distributor in and stuff like that, that way, it's just gonna fill up the carburetor with gas, and it's not gonna fill up my garage with gas. So that's it. Let's get started. So a note about header gaskets. So on a lot of these, this first hole and this last hole are notched out like this, so that you can install loose, finger tight, your front bolt and your last bolt, and then just drop it in there. Sometimes you'll get these gaskets and they will be all the way around here. They don't have that notch out on them. Just take a pair of tin snips or even side cutters or something like that and just go ahead and notch it. If you're over here trying to line up the gasket and the bolt and where you're holding the header, it's just don't mess around with that. Just notch these gaskets, drop it on in there. I'll show you. I'm just gonna reuse this one. Looks like it was leaking a little on this back one, but whenever I took this off, every one of these bolts was loose. So I think if I just drop it in there, get all the bolts tight after a heat cycle, I'm gonna re-torque them again. And by torque, I mean just. But yep. So these will go on wrong as well. It's not dummy proof, so just make sure you got it lined up. Here's ADHD 101. I just said the next thing I'm going to do is put this fuel line and this carburetor on, and then I immediately started putting spark plugs in and putting the header on. I can't explain why, but now I'm actually going to put the carburetor on. All right, friends. So this project is like, I mean, we're making progress here. There's not a lot keeping this thing from firing up. We need a distributor. We need spark plug wires, and I do want to change these spark plugs on this side, and then I need to tighten up that header and accessorize here. And it's gonna be and then some water, the water from there to there, guy. So and then alternator bracket. Got that guy painted last night. It's hanging up right over there. Should be dry. I kind of forgot about it until I was just bringing it up now, but yeah, we're getting close here. Distributors next. I'm gonna show you how to get to top dead center ish, and and then put that distributor in. Alright, so slight change in plans. I'm actually going to put the alternator on first, just because I'm going to use the bump button to bump the engine around until it's at top dead center, and the alternator is where I get my power from for the bump button. So alternator first, alternator wire, then bump it over to top dead center cylinder 1, and then put the distributor in. So I painted this bracket in the dark last night, and you can tell. Alright, so for getting, when you put your distributor in, you want to put top dead center, cylinder number 1 on the compression stroke. Your distributor only turns half as fast as your engine does on a 4-stroke. So it's important that you get it on the compression stroke when you do get it top dead center. How do you tell if it's on the compression stroke? Well, you can pull that number 1 spark plug out and you can put your thumb over the hole and you can feel it popping your thumb, like popping air off your thumb. When it's not on the compression stroke, you can feel it sucking your thumb. When it's on the compression stroke, you can feel it kind of pop your thumb. You can kind of hear it too. Maybe you can hear it in the video. I can hear it here. We'll see. So right now it's sucking on my thumb. So, I don't know if you heard that, but it popped my thumb off. I'm just a little bit past 0 on my balancer here, so I'm going to roll it back just a little bit to get back to 0. There. So, now my timing pointer's at 0 on the compression stroke. I'm ready to put the distributor in. So, what do? You put it in there, you get this rotor basically pointing at the number 1 cylinder, and that'll get your distributor looking like it's straight across. Alright, that's going to do it for tonight. Distributor's in. It's probably timed-ish. And then I went ahead and put the balancer back on, or the balancer bolt back on too. It was loose whenever I took all the stuff apart here. And I just went ahead and put some Loctite on it and jammed that dude back in there and put some torque on him. And so, yeah, list is going down. Now we need spark plugs on this side, spark plug wires, belts in the front, and radiator hose. And it should be ready to fire up. So hopefully I can get all that stuff done tomorrow night. And I was hoping to drive this thing to work Wednesday. Today's Monday. If I can get all that stuff done tomorrow night, I won't be able to get like a fire up done on it tomorrow night like I was hoping, because where's my hat? Yeah, it's gonna be in the middle of the night, and but we'll see. We'll see we'll see. All right, so we got a couple of things to wrap up here tonight. We got the distributor in last time. We put the balancer bolt back on last time. We got the alternator back on last time, and yeah, some other things I don't remember. This time I'm gonna try and get this thing ready to fire up. So that means finish installing this header up on the flange and the V band on the bottom. You need to get water outlet going over to the radiator, and gotta get spark plug wires on, and then the pulleys and belts on. And then this thing should be ready to run. I still do want to change the spark plugs over there on the driver's side, but yeah, I really just want to get this thing to the point where I could fire it up, set the initial timing, and burp the water so that if just in case I have time to do that tomorrow. And so something about this whole deal that I haven't really talked about yet on any of these YouTube videos. I do most of and get the water outlet on it. I have time to start it up tomorrow, but this is a whole monologue I'm going on. You guys don't care. Let's get to work. So same thing with these thermostat housings. I don't really use a gasket on them. I just use black RTV. But same deal as everything else. You just kind of take a razor blade and scrape the old material off, and then just drop a new bead on. So I keep a few of these. I keep a few of these ARP header bolts in stock. This is a 3/8 16 bolt on the thread, but these have a reduced head size. This is a 5/16. It takes a 5/16 socket. A standard 3/8 bolt would take a 9/16 socket, so that's like 4/16 less. So I couldn't get a ratchet and a socket on this one ever. I always had to take it off with a wrench, and I got tired of doing that. And I thought, boy, sure would be nice to put one of these header bolts in there instead, so that I can actually get a ratchet on there. And when I say ratchet, what I really mean is impact. So here's an NHRA tech rule thing. They require on anything with a carburetor that you have to have a dual spring throttle return. So if you look closely, there are two springs here that are coiled together. And well, I've had these springs for a little while. And when I did Sick Week back in 2023, um, when I was going through tech, the two tech guys were talking about it, and one of them was checking some stuff, the other one was checking some stuff. They got to the end, and the one guy goes, "Oh wait, I forgot to check for the dual throttle return. Did you check for that?" And the other guy goes, "Yeah, it's got dual throttle return springs on it. I think they might be the first ones that were ever made, but it's got them." So I don't think these were new when I got them. I think they've been around for a little bit, but still got plenty of snap to them. So if it ain't broke. I don't know what the second part of that phrase is, but the first part is if it ain't broke. Firing order. I gotta look it up every time. I can't remember these kinds of things anymore. I don't know when this thing. I don't know when this thing quit recording, but we got all the spark plug wires hooked up. I got the distributor plugged in, the coil wire and stuff like that. Throttle cables hooked up. Hooked up the wire for the temperature sender. Yeah, and last thing we got to do is hook up the V band on the backside of this passenger side collector, and then this thing will be ready to fire up. Forgot one nut. So I almost forgot to put this thing in. Oh, such a dipstick. So what I'm doing now is when I was putting that dipstick in, something was sparking. I don't know, something's touching that starter wire in there, it looks like. So I'm gonna climb underneath, see what could be touching that spark plug or that starter wire, and probably put some zip ties in to hold some stuff in a spot where it's not gonna spark. So what had happened? So what had happened is, in my attempt to put this heat shield on there to keep this thing from catching on fire, the heat shield's now metal and it was touching the main starter wire there. So I threw a couple zip ties on there, and there's that much gap now, so it should be good to go. But that's where it's we could start it now. Probably should fill it with water before we fire it up, but yeah, we could actually fire it up, start it right now. Only thing that's left to do is put those other spark plugs in it, but that can wait till probably tomorrow or never. I don't know. And yeah, I'm tired. I'm gonna go to bed. Alright, well, I did not get a chance to fire it up the next night, but I did have some time to work on it, so I went ahead and changed the rest of the spark plug wires, and then decided it was time for a shop cleanup. I normally wait until I'm done with a project before I put all the tools away, and I normally just make a colossal mess and then spend some time once it's all done. Usually once I get the car out of the garage, then I'll go through and clean everything up. But since I had the time this time, I went ahead and put all the tools away, and that was that. Stay tuned for the next one, where we'll actually fire up and do a first test drive.